I've been blessed because I cut my father off. That doesn't mean I hate him, because the Bible says love everyone. I love everyone, but I live in my exposure. I had a cousin in California I used to talk to. Me and my little cousin, because I'm in South Carolina, wanted to play a video game with him. My 14-year-old cousin. He said, my cousin in California said this to me and my 14-year-old cousin over the phone. And this really had me and my 14-year-old cousin sad, because this dude is young. Why should he hear this from our older cousin who's on the age of me, 20 years old, from California, acting like this? But you're about to hear it. Shut the F up. I said, what? He said, shut the F up. I said, our cousin is right here. Let me take you off speaker, man, if you're so mad at me. He said, I don't give a F. I said, oh no. I hang right up. I was done with him. I never talked to him since. I had moments where I stopped talking, I talked back, but I meant this time. I haven't heard from him since April or May. The importance of independence is really real. It's true. And I feel that a lot of Gen Z who have older parents or may have an older landscape or an old soul view may sometimes go with that trend, or if they have self-doubt they may go with this, but they tend to be more vulnerable and letting people just walk over them. And I can tell you from experience, I could never let that happen to me. In my memoir, which is called Trials, Tribulations, Trauma, Story Built Through Adversity, I didn't really describe everything in my story that happened. And I just realized that after finishing this book months, and now as this recording, a year after completing this. And one thing I'll say that I never really went in depth is that I used to help my mom pay bills. You're probably wondering, well, Brennan, didn't you ever document when you didn't have no jobs? I didn't have a job, but I used to do things around the house for my grandparents. In my memoir, I discussed how they were having me be a butler, but eventually they started paying me. I don't think I ever added that part in. They started paying me for the stuff I did, but then it started becoming a job relationship instead of a grandson and grandparent relationship. But then eventually around 2023 it got fixed, and then we were all good, and thank God it all ended really good before my grandfather got sick and died, because we were having a little bit back and forth, all three of us, I'll say. And it's not like we ever were like, hating on one another or nothing like that. We just had different perspectives, and my truth was more better than their truth, and I'm just being honest and authentic with you. And I do feel a part of it was because I had a certain relative come in to influence my grandparents in the way they were thinking. But anyways, that's the past. Leave that alone. Thank God that they're changing and all that stuff was reconciled. But like I said, me and him never had a big harsh moment anyway. We always had a good connection as grandson and granddad. Much more better, I would say, than my dad, which I'm about to say right now, is that with my dad, I mentioned about how in the book, the first stint, he had us drinking from 2015 to 2017. My mom was covering the bills while he was out there. I wasn't doing nothing because I was still young. Like, I was 10 to 12 years old. My dad went to rehab, of course, and then he came back in early 2018 after leaving in late 2017, and I was around 6th grade. He was doing better, but his delivery was wrong. But he was paying the bills. He was providing, like I said in my book, and he was equally helping like he was helping my mom, from what I saw and my landscape or perspective of it. But then this is where it all got chaotic. In 2020, when he got back into drinking because of the pandemic and just different things, it got worse. He abandoned me. Them days, I felt like I was back to how I was when I was younger in the first stint, being abandoned, but this time I'm like a teenager now. I'm just in the house. Some days I'm just recording YouTube videos, eating snacks, eating things, but then eventually the snacks run out. Nothing's there. I'm hungry. I would be fearful to tell my mom what's going on. I would be afraid, I would say, not fearful, but afraid to tell my grandparents or anyone, because I don't want a chaotic moment. And then at that time too, it was just so much going on between me and my grandparents and my aunt at the time, which was my mom's sister, and it was just so much. And so I couldn't really talk with them anyway because we weren't really on good condition. My mom, though, she was sad some days. Some days, she even would have got me snacks in there to eat, which was a blessing. And then when the snacks were done, she would always check in and just make sure you got enough snacks, just to make sure that I'd be okay, you know? So I thank God for her because she really was a wonderful mother and still is to this day. I thank God for a true, true mother because not a lot of boys, especially black boys, get a great mother that loves them and is respectable, honorable, not ghetto, not ratchet, and not stereotyping black woman. I'm just saying, she's not a statistic. She's intelligent. She came from the ghetto, but the ghetto wasn't in her. That's a blessing. And then eventually I started getting allowance from my grandparents, allowance from my mom. Sometimes the money my mom gave me, in a way, technically I was giving it back to her if I was helping her with a bill. Once again, throughout all this, getting my allowance from my grandparents, they never knew that the money they were giving me was helping towards my mother paying some of her bills that she needed. Yep, they never knew. And they probably still don't know till this day unless they look at this YouTube video. Because that's what true hospitality is, true servanthood is, as a believer of Christ. You don't do it for the views. You don't do it for the popularity. Because like I said, I'm telling this years later. I could have said this back when I was documenting my podcast. At that time, I was talking about my real life stuff, my real life struggles. But I never went this depth because I just felt like you're not supposed to show personal stuff on YouTube, but it's okay to show it because YouTube nowadays really want authenticity. And with storytelling, especially with me, children's book I got and the memoir, I should definitely be storytelling, you know? So it's just important to, help out when you can. Or if it was money I got from my grandparents that she didn't know, I would get that and help out to pay a bill. Because my dad was not being the man he had to be. But most people in my life personally would say, or not most, but some people who are doubtful would say, well, Brennan, you don't have experience. Why are you doing this podcast? Inspirational, things like that. But people don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And so I could have easily said all this back then, but I wasn't confident enough. And I believe I wasn't even successful enough to say what I have to say, like how I am now, with the experience, the success. Even though I don't have a lot of subscribers and stuff yet, please subscribe and notification button if you're liking this video so far. I'm growing into the success. And I'm more confident in what I have because I have so much experience from fake friends, fake relatives, fake people, different things, good friends, good relatives, good things. But it was me and my mom. But he changed in 2023. Around that same time, me and my grandparents had a reconciliation moment. We all got back together and got along as a happy family. And then my grandfather got sick and died from cancer. Then my dad got in an accident around the same time my grandfather just recently died, like a month or a few weeks after. And then he was home, and that drove him crazy because when he was with me, it was getting chaotic. I would get anxiety attacks because he would act hype some days, just crazy stuff. And then I just realized, why am I sitting here dealing with this? I've been quiet some days. I got mad some days. But I was mostly quiet. In 2025, I'll say it, my father had relapse. I was shocked that he did relapse again after 2 years. But when I experienced it that time, I didn't let it get to me. He stopped. He got back to work later in 2025 because he was eligible to go back to work. Because even during that time when he was injured, he could have been able to move around and stuff, but he was just injured, He was able to move around, as in casual move around, I'll say. The only thing he was doing in 2025 was that the doctor said he could still get out the house, but he just couldn't lift nothing. And that's what probably used to drive him a little crazy there, But in late 2025, He relapsed again. My pastor came. He talked to my dad. He tried to talk with him, understand him. My grandma, my mother, they were talking with him too, saying that he shouldn't be doing that. He shouldn't be doing what he's doing. And then my pastor came back and talked with him through the word on a sermon. Not one-on-one talk, but through a sermon. He preached it and talked about how it's a lot. It's a lot to take care of family. It's a lot to do different things. He also said that you should still take care of your family, because if you don't, it's worse than an infidel. But what my pastor didn't know, and what I forgot to mention to you guys, that during 2025, by the way, so you guys don't get mixed up when I'm saying this, my father was the one who was paying for the race car, not my pastor, because I said he, and I never specified on he. He is my father. That's what I was mentioning. You'll see right now. All he did was spend the money on a race car, the little money he would get, and that money could have went towards a bill to help my mother with her stuff. But I blame my mother too for putting herself into certain situations she shouldn't get into, which I'm not going to go into depth financially. But despite all this different things, for me as a young man, seeing all this, they got the place because they're eligible to get a house in late 2025. They got the house that's in the countryside. And that's where we go to where I'm at this year with the job. That was the final nail in the coffin for me to realize. And also, with that being said, if you don't know what was going on, I'll recap it shortly. What happened is that after I left the job I was working for a week as a salesman, not the job I worked in 2025, the job I worked in this year, I left that, and then my dad had took me to this other job in the grocery store that was close to their home near the countryside. And so he wanted me to go work for these people, and I suspected they weren't real, but he just never picked up what I was saying. And even the hiring manager was acting kind of funny with me, and she was talking to my dad more than me, and I was the one trying to reach out to her to know what to do to log in, what to do this, to get myself established, to get into the job so I can get my info in. And she used to just act stink with attitude and different things, and my father didn't catch on then. But like I said, all the videos in the past, it already documents all of it. I don't gotta record it all in this video, but if you want to check those videos out, just stay tuned to the end, and there should be a video that pops up with it. I had to stop with him because he got hype, said derogatory words I'm not going to say. Specific, so you as a viewer can connect with what I'm saying here. There was one day where I was just going, and I mentioned this on a video before if I'm not mistaken, how he told me to go get ready because it was supposed to be an interview, but it was actually an onboarding, and he told me to have my work clothes on if I want to have them on. He didn't say I have to, because he said you already got the job, XYZ. I didn't wear that. I wore shorts and a shirt. I went out there. He got mad, and he started talking under his breath some words I'm not going to mention. Then in the car, he got an attitude saying, well, you want to work? You want to work? I guess you don't want to work. When in reality, you said wear what you want to wear, but just make sure you dress right, with a right top outfit, like, you know, a polo or something. That's what he specifically said. Wear what you want to wear, but just make sure you come in prepared, you know? And you're probably saying, well, Brendan, did he mean prepared as in job? No, prepared as in dress accordingly. He said you can put on whatever. Don't have to be black pants or whatever. I'm literally telling you guys. I'm not saying things just to try to be fluffy with the motivation or give you motivational fluff, or I just say what on my mind, because some Gen Z people, some people just don't even, in general, no matter what generation, they don't try to keep up what they say. I keep up what I said, and I know what I'm saying here. He told me specifically, wear what you want to wear. Just make sure you look professional when you go there. And so I didn't worry about him. I just told him it was spiritual warfare. I told him it was him. He got to stop. Even before I was on onboarding, getting into this job, talking about the job, saying it was far away from me and my grandma's house. From my grandma's house. He just kept on disagreeing with me and my mom. Just saying things like, oh, you don't understand, girl. You don't understand, son. Man, I don't understand somebody who don't ever want to work and X, Y, Z. When you can't force no one to do what you want to do. Everybody's different. Everybody has different calling and gift. That doesn't discredit working a job, because some people got to do that to start from somewhere. But you know the circumstances. It was far away. And you weren't even consistent to take me to the job, because you had to work a job just to keep this new place you got going. Yes, I'm not going to go in depth. It's not my business to expose all this on the internet. But it's you as the man. It all goes back to you. Because you're putting the burden on my grandma, on me, some on my mother, because she may be worrying at that time. But by the grace of God, I'm out the grocery store now and it's better. And everyone's better now because I got a job closer to home. And it's even more my field with tech and phones and communication. But that's how life can be sometimes, you know? But you'll see throughout this video what I'm saying. All for me to get a job. Saying it to me. Saying it to my mother. And then when I get the job and I'm telling you that the people are not doing right, you still aren't listening to me. You're listening to the people more than you're listening to your son. That showed me how I should trust you. That showed me that your trust with me is not good. That showed me that my bond with you shouldn't be a bond. Then when one day I said, you pissed me off too much, he said, that's what I'm trying to do. He said, I want to make sure I do it more. Why would you want to rip apart a riff of you and your son? Why? Why would you do that? And so, after leaving the job, because my dad wanted me to stay, I told him no. This job experience taught me to be. The reason why I keep saying the grocery store is because of the fact that, you know, I don't want to put the name out there because I don't want to get the store bad credit. I don't put their name out there. But at the grocery store, I was resilient. I was strong. I stayed patient. I was tired of those negative workers. Only a few that were right. Only a few, just two. Because what made it even 10 times more worse was that no one was training me. Dealt with people getting mad at me, getting upset with me, feeling like how Joseph felt in the Bible. But I still stayed happy, joyful. Only a few days, I got mad. And when I got mad, that's when I knew it was time to go. And as soon as I did that, boom, God allowed the season to expire. Because it was already expired. My relatives may have never saw it the way I did. Oh, you going so fast? Yes. God put a way in there. I got the new job. I foresee things before they even happen. Because I have that faith and that belief that God can do it. Even when it looks like it may not make sense. Because it didn't. But it made sense. Because God put it in place. Because it was for His will for me to do it. And then, after leaving that grocery store job, I'm now where I'm at now. Being independent. Knowing that I had to be my own man, because my father, even after a decade, even after writing a memoir where I thought he would change, which nobody is perfect, but I thought he would change completely, he still is the same individual. And this isn't trying to talk bad or negative on him. I don't care if anyone's watching this video who know me personally. Oh, he's gossiping. Oh, this, that. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, you can run your mouth all you want to, because guess what? You can't live the life I live. I got this experience. I knew how this life was. I knew how it was for me. That's why I'm so independent. That's why I'm so strong. That's why you should be so strong. You should be so independent, because you shouldn't let no one stop you from what you're doing. I have a friend right now who's telling me that the lease is almost up for his mom's place. Around September, October, they're supposed to leave the apartment to go back to his grandma's house. I told him, because your job is closer to your grandma's house, and the guy who picks him up lives in his grandma's neighborhood, because he does vending machines, I said, why don't you go ahead and just live with your grandma and start a new beginning? Oh, my mom, with the bills and things, the kids and stuff, different things. But you're saying this. You know, I only have this much money in my pocket. Why you have that much? Oh, because my mom takes some. Before you specify anything again, let me explain. Because he even said out of his own mouth that he really would want his money, that he really want to try to live the life he want to live, but he can't because he's being, I guess, held back. And it's like, why? Why? That's your money you work for. She shouldn't be taking nothing. I understand some people now have circumstances where people are in poverty. People have to do what they gotta do. Yes, especially in this economy in 2026. But if you are young, you can't do what your parents do. It's over. I helped my mother, but my mother was independent. That dude's mom is not independent. I'm trying to say this because you have to start a brand new beginning. Sometimes your blessings aren't going to come through if you're with the same people. I can witness and tell you guys right now, I've been blessed because I cut my father off. That doesn't mean I hate him, because the Bible says love everyone. I love everyone, but I live in my exposure. I had a cousin in California I used to talk to. Me and my little cousin, because I'm in South Carolina, wanted to play a video game with him, my 14-year-old cousin. My cousin, he said, shut the F up. I said, what? He said, shut the F up. I said, our cousin is right here. Let me take you off speaker, man, if you're so mad at me. He said, I don't give a F. I said, oh no. I hang right up. I was done with him. I never talked to him since. I had moments where I stopped talking, I talked back, but I meant this time. I haven't heard from him since April or May. And I meant what I said. His friend, who I know, he's a shyster when he's ready, tried to talk to me. And I said, no, I'm not replying to none of them. I'm not worrying about that. Because they're both sneaky. They don't want nothing. Oh, I try to get a job. You can try to get a job, but why you wait till you have a girlfriend to get a job, cuz? California's expensive. You living out there, that's expensive, man. You can't let your parents take care of you all your life. It's okay to start like that, but to let them just be everything for you? No, man. Because even for me, I document this on YouTube. I was looking for jobs since last year. So, what I'm trying to say here about the importance of independence is that, from my experience, because I know everybody's circumstance is different, you got to stay rooted in what you have. That's number one, what I learned. Number two, get yourself some financial independence, freedom in as much as you can. Because you don't have to be a adult or teenager or whatever it is trying to leave your parents. You can be a brother trying to leave a sister trying to leave a brother, a sister trying to leave a sister, a brother trying to leave a brother, a husband trying to leave a wife trying to leave a husband, a friend trying to leave a best friend. You just leaving or exiting that negative person because they're not aligning in the right, correct format of life, of how it should be, especially if you're in the faith like me, a believer of Christ. So just think about what's going on in your life. Think about that next time, because just like in my memoir and my potential next one I might make, you do have a story that's built through adversity. If you want to get this book, it's down below on Amazon. You can leave a 5-star review if you can, please, and purchase the book and support it. My name is Brendan Brown, and I'm here to bring it back to people because the stories I've been through, the struggles I've been through, the tribulation I've been through, I want to try my best to just encourage you through everything I know. I want to try my best to just have my form of real life and fictional work, my children's book, and other IPs, of course, come to life. If you just want to support just in general what I do, follow me at Brownstay100 on all socials. Go buy that book if you can and put a 5-star review. If you don't want to buy the book, there's another option. Go to the Substack, subscribe to that. Or in fact, just subscribe to that first and then go buy the book. If you can remember that, because I know attention spans are all crazy and stuff. Just cracking the jokes with you. But if you watch this and you dig this, comment down below. Just something exciting, Maybe if you want to share something personal, just something. Because I'm willing to hear it. Because I'm sharing my story. I would like you to share yours as well if you can. Thank you.